Hello guys, welcome back onto the Dutch couch. Mental health, right? And football unites people, right? Am I right in saying that? I think I am. I want to get some information really and see how we can connect this with basically, we're supporters, right? I don't think as the average football supporter that we take into account the mental side of these players. I really don't. I mean, if I look at the players at the top level, right, first, they're under constant scrutiny. The eyes are on them 24/7. They can't live a normal life. And I know people are going to say, yeah, but they earn massive money. This is more than money for me. No matter how much money you earn, if you haven't got your mental health, you haven't got anything, right? This is from personal experience as well, right? And I'm going to go into that a little bit in a minute. But these people are under constant scrutiny, constant pressure, and they're only human. And I don't think we see them as humans sometimes. We just see them as objects, like just footballers on the telly, or we're going to watch them live. We don't see them as people, and I think that's what we need to see them as first. Obviously, I said, these big players, even the ones lower down, they're living away from their families, some of them. They're constantly dragging their kids out of their schools. That's got to take an effect on these people as parents as well, right? As I say, they're living away from family. Obviously, some of them are living in different countries, these big players. They've come over with no family, living out of an hotel. They're training in the morning or whatever. They've got the rest of the day just to do anything they want. Half of these must be sitting about. And I know from personal experience, when you're sitting in your own company, your mind can play real tricks on you and not be a very nice place. I don't think we sort of think about these things. And you're thinking, also, they've got the online abuse they might be getting if they've had bad performances. But there's reasons behind these bad performances. I don't think any player goes out there intending to have a bad performance, does he? Surely not. But then I'm looking into it deeper, right? I'm looking into it in the players that aren't at the top level, that aren't on the financial packages that these ones are on. Because let's be fair, they're made for life, those players, aren't they? Financially, anyway. The ones lower down, this is the ones are obviously long-term injuries as well is another thing I was going to say. They must have must be mental issues with having long-term injuries. It must be stressful when you're not playing as well. It must be a lonely place. But lower down, I'm thinking, there's a big thing for me here financially, and it's not all about money, but financially, these players who are playing lower down, League One, League Two, National League in particular, I guess, they're not getting the big pay packets, are they, every month compared to those? So some of them are not on life-changing amounts of money, are they? So I can only imagine the stresses they're going under. Bear in mind, these players in the lower leagues as well. A lot of them are moving families about constantly or whatever. But then they've got the worry of contracts. When their contract runs out, they don't know if they're going to get another contract anywhere. And to be honest, they must be banking on this, excuse the pun. They must be banking on these contracts. If a contract's not coming in, I can only imagine the stress they're under, the family and stuff. It must be so stressful. I think the effects of this on the families as well, and I'm going to go in this from a personal point of view in a sec as well. I'm going to get quite personal, and it's not going to be nice to speak about, I don't think. But what I'm wondering, is there enough psychological help for these players? I'd like to find out, and what I want from this, I'd love for someone, any club, to get in contact with me. If someone's watching this, and they know somebody who works in a club or knows a player at any level, pass this on, because I'd love to see, because this sort of stuff really interests me, and I think it's vital for these players to get this psychological help, right? You put all these stresses together, I think it's a bit worrying really if there isn't enough help. I think they really need that help. And the reason I'm quite passionate about this, right, and I'm going to talk from a personal experience now, and I don't really talk about this sort of stuff, right? And I want to approach this so we can understand each other, understand what other people go through, because I think once you understand that, I think you can understand your own mind a bit more. And if one person watches this and takes something from it, then it's worth it, and I'll put myself out there. I don't care. I'm not fussed. Right, from a personal point of view, right, I've suffered depression for years, yeah? I'm not a footballer, but I've not got the worries that these footballers have got. So if normal Jim down the road, me, can suffer from it and be to an extent where I think my family are probably better off without me, then I can't even imagine what pressure these players are under, right? And I think the psychological help for these players there must be something there, and I need to look. I probably need to research more into that because I've not really looked into it. I'm hoping to find answers. Really, I should really go looking for them. As I say, I've suffered depression for years, right? Self-conscious issues. I mean, even to come and do these videos. When me and the boys talked about doing this YouTube channel, the one thing I'm thinking is I've not got the confidence to go on screen. I don't like being filmed. I don't like the sound of my own voice on tape. But I put myself out there. And one of my friends, one of the best sayings he ever said to me was, you get the best results when you put yourself out your comfort zone. How right he was. Because every time I do a video and someone comments, nice comments and stuff, and love the way you come across and how honest you are, I'll tell you what, enough gives someone a lift. It massively gives someone a lift. And it really has given me a lift, and I massively appreciate that. But as I say, my personal issues, I find it hard to speak about, and I've only a few tiny circle of people that I really know to the extent of my own problems. I'll put it this way, I've never even spoke to my own parents about it because I'm embarrassed, and I'm embarrassed about it. I don't want them to think I'm weak. I'm a grown man and what have you. But I've got to the stage where I'm sitting there in my living room thinking, are these people better off without me? I've got to that stage, and I know a lot of people must have got to that stage. But I'm linking this. I'm not saying I'm a footballer, as I say, but I'm linking this with a football because I want to find out the mental side of these people, not players. They're people, and I want to find out from their side of things how they deal with this, because I didn't deal with it very well at times. I mean, like, as I say, I got to the stage where I'm sitting there with no self-worth. I hate being in my own company, and still to this day, anytime I've got a day off work, I'm out. I'm out doing photography, and that's one of the hobbies that I've taken up to get me out of this rut, and I love it. It's done so much for me. But one thing I can say, right, from a personal point of view as well, when you've got these issues, and I reckon this will resonate with a few people, when you've got these issues in yourself, sometimes you look for faults in the closest people around you. You look for things that are wrong about them to justify the way you're acting or feeling. And I've been that way. And I'll tell you what, I used to do that with my wife, right? I used to try and find fault in my wife. But I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I know it sounds silly, but I don't think my wife's actually got any faults. I don't think she has. But I used to look for faults to justify the way I was feeling. And we went on holiday once, and my sister-in-law, she said, what's the matter with him today? And it was only then my wife said, like, this is him. He's a roller coaster. This is him. And they were shocked by that. And at one point, you turn to stuff to give you a buzz, right? I turned to gambling at one point, and I was throwing away astronomical amounts of money. But I was throwing them away, losing, then putting more astronomical amounts of money to try and win that money back. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to put myself out there, right? Because if this helps one person, then it's worth it. I remember laying there one night about 3:30 in the morning, right, on a betting website. My missus is laying next to me snoring. But I'm looking at like sort of Australian 4th division or Japanese 3rd division games. I don't know nothing about these teams, but the desperation to win my money back. At the same time, I'm feeling so mentally ill. This sort of stuff, it's really hard, you know. But I used to talk to my mother-in-law, right? But when it come to her head, the one time I spoke to her, and I came out of there, and I thought, that's not been no help, I feel even worse. That's when something had to change, you know. As I say, anyone watching this, right? Everyone's got their issues. It's good to talk to someone, 1,000,000%. I'm not going to blab on anymore, right? Because I'm going to start being silly now. But I want to get to the root cause of this with the players. I want to get to the psychological issues with these players. You can see me just there talking about my own experiences, mate. I've only just touched the surface, and I'm getting a bit teary. So I think we really need to appreciate these players more. what they give us. So I'm not being funny. Football is a massive part of my life. Massive, absolutely huge part of my life. I don't think I could crack on without it. It's quite sad, really. It's quite sad. But I'd love to hear from someone in one of these clubs that can tell me how these footballers, how these people, right, who play football, can get through psychologically and still perform 2-3 times a week on that pitch in front of like how many thousands of people screaming at you. Because I know I'm not mentally strong. Compared to, they must be mentally absolutely tough as anything, mate. They must be hard as nails mentally to be doing what they're doing. And I've got so much respect for them. And I'll probably look at this a bit different, right? And I'll probably I'll look at coaching a bit differently as well to other people I've found out. I look at things from different angles. I'm a thinker, but I like to learn. I don't know how many other people would probably think as a footballer feeling. The general consensus would be these footballers are on 100 grand a week. What's their problem? Money's not everything. Do you know what? Someone said to me once, right, which really annoyed me. I put on my social media, I was on holiday, right? And I put on there, got away for a week, nice to get away from the stresses. And I had the most shallow response from someone who was on my friends list, right? He said, how can you have any stresses? This is your second holiday this year. And I just thought, how narrow-minded are you? You don't know the constant stresses I go under in my own head. It's not even financial. Some people just struggle in life, really, in general, right? So couple that with, these footballers have got all that on their shoulders, right? I'd love to know how they get through this. It's a short career, so also when they finish playing, their world must come crashing down. They've got all them highs of playing, the adulation, the fans, the dressing room banter. Is there enough help for them when they finish playing? Yeah. Strange, man. It's strange. I look at stuff a lot differently, I suppose. I look at everything from a mental side of things. And this is why, when I've done videos in the past, right, and I'll be honest, this is probably why, when I post some videos, sort of from a fan's point of view, and I'll sort of slaughter owners for taking the mickey out of fans, I think, without even realising, I'm probably quite protective of, because football fans, we're all as one, right? So maybe that's my protective side coming out and attacking the people that I think are taking the mick. Maybe. I've looked at it like that. I've looked at it different ways. Why do I do what I do? Do you know? But you got to realise most stresses are not financial. A lot of it is. A lot of people have just got issues in their self. Yeah, and there's no cause for that. You just get that. But I think like a big. I'm not going to drone on, but a big thing I would say to someone, right? If there's one person watching this, there might be one. If there's one person watching this, right, and they've seen me open up tinily, I've only opened up a tiny bit, I find it so hard, you see me, I start getting emotional. If they see this, what I'd say to you is, give yourself a variety of hobbies. Keep yourself busy. I mean, I do photography, I do street photography, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to add a link to my Instagram street photography page at the end of this video, right? So even if that gives someone inspiration to go and walk down the Thames or whatever and take some pictures, I'm quite creative with it. I found a creative side in myself which I didn't even know I had, right? But yeah, take a look. Even if you go for a walk down the Thames, go for a walk down the Thames and chill out. But yeah. Thanks for watching this. As I say, if there's any people from any clubs, down to National League, whatever, they want to get in contact me, because I'd love to hear from you. I really want to, I love spreading the word. I love to help people with your own experiences. I've talked to people who suffer depression and stuff. I've spoke to people and I've helped people. But know your own worth as well. Know your own worth, definitely. But yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers.